Hey yo everyone! Just when I thought I could take it easy this week with the 4th of July weekend, Krafton had to come along and drop a bombshell on us Subnautica fans. And it turns out Phil Spencer went on a massacre, but that's just your standard evil corporation bullshit that I can't fucking stand, but I digress. Earlier this week, Krafton, the publisher behind games like PUBG and the Callisto Protocol, announced that they were parting ways with the original Subnautica's lead developers. Krafton acquired Unknown Worlds, the studio behind Subnautica, back in 2019 and has mostly been hands-off since the purchase, but this week marks a pretty drastic shakeup for the Subnautica 2 team. So today, let's jump into this Subnautica 2 rabbit hole and talk about what the heck is going on with the game's development. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. We're going for 1,000 subs. Aight, let's get it. Alrighty, so let's get into the nuts and bolts of this thing. Earlier this week, Krafton put out a press release that announced they were letting go of the original Subnautica developers. Charlie Cleveland, the director and lead programmer, Ted Gill, the CEO of the studio behind the game, Unknown Worlds, and Max McGuire, a co-founder of the company. Those are some pretty big names to just be ousted at what appears to be a moment's notice. The three biggest names in the company are now gone and have been replaced with Steve, oh man, I'm gonna mess this up, Papautsis, formerly the CEO of Striking Distance Studios, who most recently made the Callisto Protocol. That in itself is pretty shocking news, but the way this press release is written makes me think there's more to this than just your usual layoffs. It appears as if Krafton kicked the original Subnautica creators out by force. In the press release, it reads that Papautsis replaces the previous leadership team, Ted Gill, Charlie Cleveland, and Max McGuire, effective immediately. While Krafton sought to keep the Unknown Worlds' co-founders and original creators of the Subnautica series involved in the game's development, the company wishes them well on their next endeavors. At first glance, it sounds like Krafton wanted to keep them on board, but something must have happened behind the scenes for the publisher to fire the frickin' studio founders like this. The press release continues, Krafton is committed to achieving regular milestones to assess progress across its creative studios. These reviews, based on clearly defined metrics and targets, will help ensure that games meet both creative and quality standards. This process is essential to delivering the right game at the right time. Unknown Worlds' new leadership fully supports this process and is committed to meeting player expectations. Wow, okay, so it sounds like the Subnautica team was failing to meet internal benchmarks set by Krafton, and instead of delaying the game or reassessing their progress, the publisher decided to fire the heads of the company and replace them with one of their own guys, Steve Papautsis. That's not throwing shade at Steve, by the way. The guy has a great resume, credited with major contributions to the original Dead Space games, but it's clear that he was brought in to execute Krafton's expectations for Subnautica 2, not the developers. So basically, my interpretation of this is that Krafton was not pleased with how long the development was taking, and instead of pushing back the release date, they fired the game's leads and replaced them with someone who they believe will get the game done and released sooner. In the statement, it's emphasized repeatedly that Krafton wants the game to be out in the public's hands as soon as possible. See, I don't really get this. It's not like Krafton is hurting for money, they're making plenty, so I don't think they need to rush the game's release for quarterly reports or some other corporate garbage. Clearly, the developers didn't feel as if the game was ready to be released, but Krafton doesn't want to delay it. I mean, in 2025, game delays are basically to be expected at this point. It happens so frequently. Would Subnautica fans really be that worked up if the sequel was delayed to 2026? Does this mean that the studio will have to cut content or rush development or crunch long hours in order to meet Krafton's 2025 deadline? Are they just trying to cram it into this year to avoid GTA 6? I suppose that's a valid reason, but I think that's also kind of ridiculous, right? Like, you've got to have some faith in your IP. It's not like GTA 6 would be a direct competitor to Subnautica 2. They're two very different games. I don't know. There's not a lot of information out there right now on what exactly is going on behind the scenes, and who knows when/if we'll ever get the full story. But the thing that really worries me is that we don't really know how this shift in power will affect Subnautica 2's development. Maybe the game is already almost completely done and can launch in early access soon, or maybe the leads weren't satisfied with what they had done and didn't want to put out a mediocre product. I mean, this Steve Papoutsis guy is a complete wild card. If he truly is a puppet for Krafton and he now has sole responsibility for Unknown Worlds, there's no saying what changes could be made to Subnautica 2. There was a rumor last year that Subnautica 2 would be more of a live service game, that it would focus on multiplayer and paid DLC instead of the free content updates the first game got. Apparently, Krafton said during a financial report that Subnautica 2 was being designed using the games as a service model, and the fanbase responded exactly how you think they would. Another live service game chocked full of battle passes and paid character skins. Great. Thankfully, Unknown Worlds came out and straight up squashed these rumors, saying that Subnautica 2 would be just like the original, continuous content being added to the game without season passes or battle passes or subscriptions. Now, I don't have any sort of proof or anything, this is just me putting on my little tinfoil hat, but I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility now for Subnautica 2 to all of a sudden go the live service route. The original creators, the guys who just got forced out of their own company, probably told Krafton that they weren't going the games as a service route, and I'm sure that, plus not meeting Krafton's arbitrary deadlines, resulted in their eventual firings. With Papoutsis in charge, Krafton can certainly instill some influence on Subnautica 2's final version. I don't know, this whole thing is a big mess, and we still don't know everything. I will say though that this Krafton versus Unknown Worlds dispute reminds me a lot of the Annapurna Interactive collapse that happened last summer. I already made a video on it that I'd highly recommend because it's a crazy story and I'm also really proud of the video, but basically, there was a bunch of squabbling inside the Annapurna Interactive company that resulted in the entire publishing staff to resign on the spot. Seriously, the entire company quit. It's insane. Now, I'm not saying the same thing will happen with Unknown Worlds and Subnautica 2, but at this point, anything is possible. Who knows how invested the devs were in the original creator's vision? Maybe their firings will feel like a major slap in the face to all of their work. Maybe they will feel betrayed by the corporate politics being displayed by Krafton. I don't know. This whole thing just spells trouble, and I'm not 100% confident that Subnautica 2 will make it out unscathed. I guess just keep an eye on Subnautica 2. I don't think this is the last time we'll see its development in the news. But just like everything else in life, only time will tell. So until then, I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of the sudden departure of Subnautica's creators? What reservations do you have for Subnautica 2? Are you worried about it just like me, or are you a normal person who doesn't get worked up over things like this? I'd love to hear all of your thoughts down below in the comments. Bit of a chiller video this week. Sorry, I'm getting hyped for my 3-day weekend, but I got a longer video planned for next Friday, so feel free to subscribe if you want to hear more video game talk. Or actually, if you enjoyed the video at all, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It does mean a lot. I appreciate you guys as always. I hope you have a great 4th of July weekend, and I will catch you in the next one.